Here's the gentleman with the bro stash invited to this review because it's going to be freaking awesome. What's going on, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and I'm here with the third of the BlackBerry form factors, the BlackBerry Torch 9850. It comes out after the BlackBerry Torch 9810 and the Bold 9900 and 9930. It's available now at Sprint for $149.99. Now, it's a good-looking device. It's a lot thinner than the original Storm, but it resembles the original Storm with the full touchscreen, even though it's a little bit larger, 3.7 inches on this device. Now, it's available, like I said, for $149.99, but it's going up against the Motorola Photon 4G and the HTC Evo 3D. Can it compete, or should you get something like the Photon 4G, the Evo 3D, or one of the other Android devices on Sprint? We'll find it out in the full review, but first, got to give some love to my boys at Best Buy Mobile because they hook us up with a bunch of phones that we give to you in the One Paw Bandit game. Sprint gave us this one, so we got to give them some love too. Special thanks to them. But at Best Buy Mobile, you walk out working. You'll walk in, they'll help you set up your email, your web. You'll be texting on this in 5 or 10 minutes, and you'll be good to go at Best Buy Mobile. You walk out working. Let's take a look at this in the full review and see, is this a device to get? Or maybe you should go with the Evo 3D? Let's take a look and find out. The Torch 9850 is here, and really, it's the same specs, just in a different design. Now, this comes after the Storm line, and it very closely resembles the Storm line, even though they kind of threw it under the Touch branding. But the Torch 9850 is available at Sprint now for $149.99, and internally, it's almost identical to the 9930 and the Torch 9810. It has the same 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. It has a 1,230 milliamp hour battery in the back. Actually uses the JM1 battery like the Bold 9900 and 9930, so interchangeable batteries there. But it has kind of a pearl-like resemblance to me, at least on the back, and it's a nice metal battery cover while I have it removed, and 4 gigabyte micro SD card pre-installed in the back. But very thin device. It has a 3.7 inch display, so it's the largest touchscreen display on a BlackBerry ever, and again, you can see how thin it is. Now over here, you have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, you have your volume rocker, and you have, they're kind of hard to see, but volume rocker and camera shortcut button. You have your 5 megapixel camera back here with 720p HD video recording and autofocus. So for those that, you know, like the 9900, like the 9930, if they really want that autofocus, this may be your device right here if you're okay living without a keyboard. Micro USB charging port over here as well. Then you have physical buttons down here and a trackpad. So you get some nice navigation, but it feels good in the hand. And again, it's a 1,230 milliamp hour battery. I've been working with it for a couple of days, and the battery life, I would say, is on par, if not maybe slightly worse than the 9900, the 9930. I was not able to make it through a day using this as a full device, you know, making phone calls, doing text messages, browsing the web. Using it with moderate use, I made it till about 7 p.m., 6 to 7 p.m. each night before the battery powered down. That was pulling it off at about 8 or 9 in the morning. So something to keep in mind, it is a small battery. They really made the battery small to make the device small, but the trade-off is, obviously, battery life isn't as great. But you've got the same design here. It has BlackBerry 7. Really, it's BlackBerry 6.1 because it's more of an evolutionary change from BlackBerry 6 that came on the Torch 9800, but they're calling it 7 from a marketing standpoint to make it sound a little bit newer. But it's a nice device, and that processor, you can really tell the fast processor in this device because everything's pretty zippy. I mean, everything opens up fast. There's little to no lag whatsoever. You can pop into text messages really quickly just to see contacts. You see how quickly everything loads. I mean, it's a very, very fast device, and you can see out of the box you get all the typical BlackBerry stuff. Some of the icons have changed. You'll see text messages have changed from BlackBerry 6 and BlackBerry OS 5.0. Contacts has too. Some minor revisions there, but you get Sprint Zone, BlackBerry App World, Telenav, which was formerly Sprint Navigation. V-Lingo comes pre-installed out of the box. You get RIM's social feeds program, which is kind of a social aggregator, brings in, you know, Twitter, Facebook, and then speaking of which, Facebook and Twitter come pre-installed. They're not links or shortcuts to download the app. They're actually both pre-installed out of the box. And then the instant messaging, you get Windows Live, Yahoo Messenger, and Google Talk. And then down here, you get in Applications, BlackBerry Protect, Pocket Express, Log Me and Rescue, and then of course you get your games, Break Breaker, WordMole, Sprint Self-Service, and then I don't want to forget the media. You get all the Sprint goodies in here: radio, Sprint Cut Mobile, TV and movies, Football Live, Music Plus, and Slacker Radio. And of course in Portrait, that's what it looks like, and then you can switch it over into Landscape and see what it looks like there. Again, 3.7 inch display here. This is a 3G device, so no 4G capabilities on this device. You still have to pay the $10 premium data fee since it is a smartphone, but it looks good. It feels great in the hand. It's a huge revision, at least, well, both in design and in terms of internal specs from the original Storm and the Storm 2 line. It feels better, it looks better, it's nice, it fits well in the hand, has a nice curved feel on the back, and it exudes a premium feel. You can see it's a good looking device. It's not quite as premium feeling as perhaps the 9930 and the 9900, but still it feels good. Let's take a look at text messaging. This is my biggest gripe about this device, and we'll go in here and take a look at the keyboard. which is my primary frustration. 3.7-inch display, so it's a little bit of a bigger display. The keyboard's a little easier to type on, and you'll see some revisions on this keyboard versus touch BlackBerries of the past, the Torch 9800 and the BlackBerry Storm series. So you'll see that there's some changes. The keys are a little bit more blocky, and all in all, it's a little bit easier to type on. So we'll say the Quick Brown Fox jumped over the lazy fog, apparently, the lazy dog. So pretty easy, or it's a little easier to type on. It is not anywhere near iOS or Android and the keyboards, the various keyboards that Android offers. So if you're coming from multi-touch, Motorola's multi-touch keyboard, or HTC Sense keyboard, or Swipe, or anything like that, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and it is a smaller display, even though I hate to say 3.7 inches is small, but it's still, you know, a little bit of a smaller display. Now you get into landscape, it's a little bit easier to type on, and if you're somebody like me that has larger thumbs, it may be easier for you. The Quick Brown Fox said hello. But just the placement of the keys, very frustrating. And then, of course, the delete key, the capitalize button are all just kind of placed awkwardly on this. It's definitely not the best on-screen keyboard I've ever used. So if you send a lot of text messages, you send a lot of emails, you're like, I'm going to get this BlackBerry and IM and BBM and email and text message, take a look at the keyboard, or at least take Sprint's 30-day test drive and use it to your advantage and see if this is really the device for you, because the keyboard really isn't, in my opinion, all that great. But you do have it in portrait and landscape. I just wish you had a physical keyboard. But that's what it looks like. No other options out of the box on the keyboard front. Let's take a look at browser so you can see PhoneDog.com, and you'll see if I can get it on the first time. PhoneDog.com. Nope, not .bomb. .com. There we go. And we'll wait for that to load up. Now, this is one huge benefit. You know, BlackBerry's always been chided over the past, well, forever, for having a terrible web browser. I mean, you look at something like iOS or Android or Windows Phone 7 or WebOS or any of these competing platforms, and the web browsers are just miles ahead of BlackBerry. They always have been. Well, RIM says this is a 40% improvement over BlackBerry 6 and 100% improvement over BlackBerry OS 5.0. It's huge to me. I mean, I can't underscore the improvements here. Combined with a super fast processor and an improved web browser itself, it's a really huge improvement. It's finally a device where I can honestly say this thing's not really bad in the web browsing department. I could actually use this as a day-to-day device. And I actually am using it. I'm doing a 30-day challenge on the site right now. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for those posts, because I'm testing the 9930 for 30 days to see if I can actually use it all the way through. But PhoneDog is loading up right now, and you can see over here by clicking the BlackBerry key, which is kind of the equivalent of a right-click on BlackBerry. You can refresh, you can stop, you can zoom, you can go to, and of course pinch to zoom, because all the new devices, the 9900 series, this, and the Torch 9810, all have touchscreens, so you can utilize pinch to zoom. And I really think, you know, we've gotten to the point where we love our touchscreens, we love being able to pinch to zoom and tap and interact with our hands, and I think that's really what makes all these new BlackBerry devices, not so much the improvements in the browser, they're great, don't get me wrong, but to have the touchscreen capabilities, it's fantastic as well. So you can go over here and see add to bookmarks, add to home screen, send page address, copy page address, bookmarks, history, and then up here you can access your pages. And see, it gives me this nice little preview of PhoneDog. I can open up a second page, and PhoneDog will take even longer to load, and then I can go right back. But you see I get a nice little text bar up here with what I'm doing, and I can scroll right over and go right back. So it's loaded up right now, and that's what it looks like in landscape, and then we'll go back to portrait. Transitions are a little bit slower, but take a look at this pinch to zoom. I mean, just incredibly fast and much better from any BlackBerry of the past. Now this one's particularly nice because out of the other devices, the 9900, the 9930 has a pretty small display. It's kind of hard to pinch to zoom. Torch is kind of the same way. It has a the 9810, that is, has a 3.2-inch display. This has a nice 3.7-inch display, so it's really a decent web browsing unit. If you can survive long enough to type in the actual URL with that keyboard, you'll be just fine. Pinch to zoom is great. Double tap is great as well. You're getting a little checkerboarding here and there, but still loads up pretty quickly, and even when you do get the checkerboarding, it corrects itself pretty fast. But really impressed with the browser speed. Huge improvements over previous BlackBerry devices. And let's see what else I want to show you. And go into let's go into all here and take a look. And I'm going to jump right around to some different things. Let's take a look at the camera really quickly. Now this is a 5-megapixel camera. It does have autofocus, and it has 720p HD video recording. I'm going to take a picture of the Veer 4G in honor of WebOS, just so we can see. And I'm going to get down here on the keyboard so that the autofocus kicks on. Let's see if we can get that sucker to zoom in. It doesn't look like it's going to want to cooperate. Let's see if we can get it to zoom in a little bit better than that at this angle. Let's try it out here. Try it out here. So you can see it's a little harder when it gets up close. And then there's that's what it looks like. And of course this is an unofficial camera test, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like on screen, typical 5 megapixel picture. It's a little bit washed out. Obviously I had the flash on, but you know, it's in a well-lit situation. It's a little bit washed out, a little bit of a different kind of color contrast in my opinion. It's a little bit blurry on screen. I don't know if it's showing it that well on the camera, but that said, you know, it's a decent 5 megapixel camera. If you're doing quick shots or you're taking quick videos with HD camcorder, you're not going to have a problem. But when you get into like taking close-ups, things like that, you're probably going to want or wish you had a phone with a little bit of a better camera. Still, 720p HD video recording is actually one of the best that I've worked with in recent memory. Take a look at the video on youtube.com/phonedog or on phonedog.com because it is pretty interesting to see the 720p results. It's definitely good. The audio is decent. A little bit of an autofocus issue with the video, but overall, it looked good as well.